Oh, so smooth and funky. Out now, brown cow. Welcome back. Episode 8 of the Hometown Brawn podcast. I'm your host, Sven Hansen, and I'm an entrepreneur just like most of you. So what I'm here today to talk about is where's the best place to sell our products right now? And I think we know where. That's online. Everything's been shut down for months because of the global pandemic. And right now, it is so important to be ready to talk to consumers where they are right now, and that's online. So last week I talked about why, right? And the why is, why do people want to buy your products? And it's your job to convince them quickly of why to buy your products. And this week we're going to talk about where. Now, the reason I skipped what, it's important to tell the people what you're selling. We're going to talk about that next week. I thought that I would interrupt this with some breaking news. All right. And the breaking news is super fantastic for Ontario business owners. Thank you to Digital Main Street. And we're going to talk today to Darryl Julott. And he is the senior manager for the Digital Main Street team. And he's going to talk to us about the Shop Here program. Now, Shop Here has recently been helped out by Google. And before Google came in, we've also got great partners with the Shop Here program. We've got Shopify, we've got MasterCard, we've got now Google and Microsoft. So there's some great companies behind it that are helping businesses. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how that works. Now, first, let's talk about where. Okay. So obviously, we want to sell our products online, right? That makes sense. And over the last couple months, this has really, really, really changed because if we look back to my business, Always Bearded, when I first started my business, I went out every single weekend. I went to trade shows. I went to events. I went to markets. I went to flea markets. I was trying to make a connection with my customer where they were, and that was out and about. Now that has changed. People are at home as they do their part to flatten the curve against a global pandemic. Now, right now, we have their attention online, and that's where they are. Public gatherings, we don't know when they're going to come back. So right now, if you're not taking this opportunity to take back and assess where you need to be, that is a huge, huge mistake. And I hope that this segment is going to help you. Online shopping, it's growing so fast. But most people are online on their phones, right? On their tablets, mobile. And last holiday season, if we talk about the holiday shopping season, 75% of online shopping happened from people's phones. That's right. So if your website is not optimized for mobile, you are missing the boat. Another great statistic is right now that 70% of consumers are making online searches on their phone. And within that mobile search, within 1 hour, they're making a purchase decision on a product or service. 1 hour. So remember last week I talked to you about the why. And it's so important. Last week I talked about why people should buy your products and why you should convince them of the pain point of how your product is going to make their life better or it's going to solve a problem. And that's why your product is worth buying in a nutshell. If you want to hear more, please listen to that podcast from last week. But the why in this is if you can't convince them why and quickly, they're going to bounce and they're going to go to your competitor. And if you're not ready for mobile, I mean, you're going to miss that consumer. So there was a great statistic as well that said 51% of consumers admitted to buying a product different than the one that they went searching for online. So they went and they did a search for something they wanted to buy, and they found something else that was better. And why? Well, because that product, that company, that service was either genuinely better than the product that they were searching for, or the company did a better job at convincing that person why. And it might have been a mixture of both, who knows? But the way they did that is through an optimized website for mobile. So what I'm going to talk to you about today is being ready on your website, but also being ready with social media. I can't put this into enough context of importance. 55% of consumers have bought something online after seeing it on social media. And social media has so much virality potential. If you can get people engaged with your brand, if you can get people looking at your products, if you can get people liking your products, if you can encourage conversation around your products or services, other people are going to see that conversation, they're going to join, and it picks up steam, it picks up momentum. That's virality. And social media has so much potential if you're able to capitalize on it properly. And the one thing that's really trending is something called stories. And what I've found in my business that works extremely, extremely well for me is my stories. And stories are basically short videos that you film with your phone, and you can put all kinds of cool effects on it. You can make yourself look better if you want with filters. You can put stickers or, sayings or hashtags. And stories are so valuable. So you're pulling back the curtain, and your customer now has an eye on what's going on behind the curtain. And right now, I think there's an opportunity, and I've talked about this over and over again, there's an opportunity to connect with your customers. They're in isolation and they are craving connection. So if we can give them a way to look behind the curtain and see what you do on an everyday basis, see how you're packaging orders, seeing how you're making it safer in your workplace for people to come in and shop, safer for you to do curbside pickup, and all the things that you're doing to build value, then that's value in itself. So please, 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 if you're not talking to your customers on social media, in addition to your website, you really need to do that. And I'm going to give you a starting point here. Okay. So Facebook and Instagram just made a great partnership with a company called Shopify. And if you haven't heard about Shopify, they became Canada's most valuable company. More valuable than any company in Canada. And what they allow you to do is create a web store easy, quickly, and customizable for desktop and mobile. And they've partnered with Facebook and Instagram to create something called Shops. And what that allows you to do is sell your products online through Instagram and through Facebook. And what you can do is you can post pictures and you can have links to it right there. So people can shop right in Instagram and Facebook, but you can also do it in your stories. So you can actually be talking about the product, the value, the why, and the what, and the who, and the where. The where is on social media. They can buy it on social media through Instagram, through Facebook, and through this new program called Shops. But what it runs off is Shopify in the background. And you're probably thinking, well, that's going to cost me something. Yes, it is. But what if I could tell you that you could have that for free for 90 days. You could have that for free. Now, what if I went another step further and said, what if you had somebody that could design your website, bring you online, provide you with an all-encompassing package of how to take your product or your service from a brick and mortar retail storefront to sell online to customers effectively and efficiently for free? Okay, I think I have your attention. All right. Well, I'm going to talk to you about our guest who's coming up. And not too long ago, there was I was introduced to Digital Main Street. And how I was introduced to it was they were doing a campaign where they were helping Main Street companies downtown in their community take their products and services and better market them online. And I was lucky enough to go through one of their grant programs, which helped me with some training on digital marketing and how to better market my products online. And that was accompanied with some grant money that I used to better amplify my voice online with my products. And I've seen a huge uptick over this pandemic because of that grant and how my ad dollars have been spending online. Now, just spending that money online isn't necessarily going to work for you. It has to be optimized and it has to be done properly. And unfortunately, that involves a little bit of training. Now, what Digital Main Street is going to do is they're going to help you with a whole encompassing package of how to do that. And they're going to do it for free. Now, just a side note, this is for Ontario businesses. So if you're outside of Ontario, Canada, they're going to roll it out across the country, but they are starting in Ontario. Now, going back to Digital Main Street, just recently they launched a pilot program called Shop Here. And it was done in response to the pandemic because businesses that were typically brick and mortar couldn't sell their products to their customers because brick and mortar was shut down and everybody was staying home and they wanted to get online. So what Digital Main Street did was they launched this pilot program just for Toronto, and it was so successful that they attracted Google to come behind them. Now, they also attracted other sponsors. Like I talked about, we've got MasterCard, we've got Microsoft, we've got Shopify, and we've got Google now as main founding sponsors. But there's all kinds of other sponsors, Facebook, Snapchat, the list goes on. Scotiabank, Google, again, is offering ad credits. Now, what they're going to do with the Shop Here program, because of the money that Google brought in to launch this across the country, is they've opened it up outside of Toronto. So this is breaking news. I live in Barrie, Ontario, and I want to bring this to the entrepreneurs in my community here to let them know that as a municipality and as a municipality all across Ontario, you can go online, go to digitalmainstreet.ca/shop here and sign up your business, and you will go through the following package. Now, let me read this to you. This is what you're going to get. I've got so much great content here about what they're going to offer you. So what you're going to get is the choice of an online store customized with your information, branding, logo, etc. You're going to get hands-on assistance from launching your online store. You're going to have designers design your store for you with your brand and your colors and your logo and everything intact, your brand messaging, what you usually do in store to talk about your products. Now you can do this online with this great program. You're going to get training to support your online store, including topics such as digital marketing, shipping, and inventory management. So this isn't just a program to help you online. This is going to streamline your entire operations. Shopify is so good at that, and I can't tell you how many hours I've saved by using Shopify's apps and functionality on the back end of their service. It's so easy to use. I can't pump up their service enough. Now, what some of the requirements are is that you have to be a registered business. You have to have a commercial location, or it can be home-based. It has to have fewer than 10 employees. or fewer than 25 employees if you're a restaurant or a bar. Now, I want to talk about that for a second. Restaurants and bars are having such a hard time right now. But what they've done is they've partnered with a company called Ritual. And Ritual's newest initiative is called Ritual One. And what it's going to do is integrate with your Shopify store to provide local restaurants with an easy way to accept digital orders from your website. So cool. And it's free. Wild. Okay, guys, I'm not going to take too much more of your time. I just wanted to take a break from where we were going before with the content, and I apologize for taking a break, but this is breaking news, guys. You have to take advantage of this. Google has said that they plan on bringing 50,000 businesses online by 2021. That's wild, and that's super great for small business. Let's get into this call. Hello.
What's going on, sir? How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Not too bad. I wish I had a studio that looked that badass.
Yeah. So how are things this morning?
Not bad, man. Just just plugging away. It's Monday morning, so just kind of opening up the inbox, scared to see what awaits. But it's good. Everything's good, man. I can't complain.
That's good. Well, I won't take much of your time. I know there's a lot going on.
No problem. I have no issues participating. It took a while to kind of find the date and all that, but no, I'm good. I'm in no rush, man.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so I mean, while I have you here, and I wanted to thank you, of course, for taking the time. My podcast, we talk about things that are going on, and I think for small businesses, it seems like every day we're having to shift or pivot in some way. So it's a stressful time. It's a rewarding time. It's a roller coaster, right? So I appreciate you taking the time, and I appreciate organizations like Digital Main Street. A little bit of backstory about Digital Main Street and my company, Always Bearded, is before I have you talk a little bit about it, is I was lucky enough to qualify for one of the grants, the Digital Main Street grant, just previous to the pandemic happening and the shutdown happening, and that grant money has really helped my business during these times to amplify my digital presence. So wanted to thank Digital Main Street for that, first of all. And before I get into it, just for the listeners and the viewers, outside of the Shop Here program, which we will talk about after this, I wanted to have you just talk about Digital Main Street and just what the mission statement is, the ethos of how it came to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And first off, thanks for having me. Any chance to kind of, chat with like-minded individuals, especially, small business owners themselves. I always love hearing the story. So thank you for that. So it's Digital Main Street has a very, very simple backstory. We were created out of a conversation that happened about 5 years ago now, trying to identify the next source of help for small businesses that could be provided in the city of Toronto. And it was at that time that the TABIA, which is the Toronto Association of Business Improvement Areas here in the city, and the City of Toronto partnered to create what is now the platform and the program behind Digital Main Street. And one of the things I'm most proud about is from day one, we've never shifted kind of from that ethos or that main focus, which is just help as many small businesses as we can by showing them how they can adopt and implement different digital tools and technologies. And by also providing them free support, guidance, education, and training. So that's kind of the 15 to 18 second, DMS kind of mission statement in a nutshell.
Yeah, it's really great because there's a whole plethora of resources that I had the opportunity to go through in order to qualify for the grant. And I think that that's really important, is that that the money's there, but that people have the resources of how to use it, and how to implement it, and how to spend it wisely, right? Because I think, with digital, it's a little bit more difficult than just throwing money out there and
Yep.
hoping that you're going to get customers out of it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And one of our big focuses, not only just tied to the grant, but in general, is this concept of making sure people are smart consumers.
Hmm.
So making sure they are, able to identify, to your point, how much a certain project should cost, what potential red flags are, questions they should ask. It's unfortunate, but we see it all too often now where businesses kind of get taken advantage of by a quick speaking, salesman from an agency or somebody that just says all the right things, but really isn't
Sure.
driving that true value.
Hmm.
So that was kind of the mindset behind developing that grant program was, we wanted to make sure that, to your point, we weren't only just, handing them the money to actually make the purchase. We were arming them with that knowledge so that they could make that money go as far as possible and also be as effective as possible.
Hmm. Absolutely. So obviously, digital Main Street. I mean, the way that society has been changing so much is that, of course, over these periods of time leading up to the pandemic, there has been a shift to go online. And I know that with small businesses, um, they get so caught up in their business that often
Yep.
they don't have the opportunity to, because they're so busy working in their business, they don't have the opportunity to work on their business.
Yep.
So I think, during this pandemic, as just to sound grateful for a minute, is that I think that it's given people an opportunity to take a much needed assessment of their business, and they have the time now to say, I got I have to go online. There's no other option.
Yep.
And just given what's happening right now. So that obviously would have stemmed the Shop Here program,
Yep.
which was a pilot program in Toronto, right? That launched. So tell me about the Shop Here program. I know, without getting into the news from Google, which we can talk about right after this, tell me about how the Shop Here program started, and what the vision was behind that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny because it was a pilot project in Toronto for all of about 72 hours before we realized that it was going to grow pretty quickly.
Hmm.
Shop Here was an interesting piece because so digital Main Street in a nutshell, the way we operate, we don't operate like an agency. So we don't just do work for businesses, we do it with them.
Yeah.
So, if a business wants a website, we'll sit down and we'll actually help them kind of go through the process and, show them, why we pick certain platforms and themes and, plugins, whatever it may be. But we do it in conjunction with the business owner.
Right.
So, not only to your point, further in our conversation about the money, not only are you getting a website, but you're learning how to use it, you're learning how to update it, you know how to make it the most effective piece of, collateral and
Yeah.
digital real estate for your business,
Teach
all of
someone how
that.
to fish. Mindset.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so to try and wrap our heads around Shop Here was interesting because it was kind of almost going completely against our narrative, which was let's just do the work for the businesses.
Right.
But in light of a pandemic and everything that was going on, we had to kind of adjust like everyone else. And we realized very quickly we didn't have the time to go. So our pilot project was the goal was 3,000 businesses in Toronto, and we realized we didn't have the time to actually go and convince all these businesses to go online, then do the work for them and all of this. Just because of, like you said, the dire situation we're in. It's like, they need to be online now. We need to get this done. So when we launched the program, we just said, okay, you know what, screw it. We're going to build the websites for them. We're going to get this done. And then we're still going to provide that same level of support and guidance and, capacity building, but on the back end of it.
Right.
So instead of it all happening kind of parallel in conjunction, it was like, we're going to build a website. We're going to hand it over to you.
Yep.
And then we're going to train you on everything else after the fact. So it's kind of almost like a hybrid model of what we used to do.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been incredibly powerful. Like we've seen some stores already that, there's one store here that's located on Queen Street West in Toronto. And for anyone who's ever been downtown, it's one of the busier streets in the city. And, they've unfortunately had to announce that they're closing their location for good, just based on.
Just economics.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
That, no specific reason. But and they were one of the first businesses. I think they were the second one to actually have their site live through the Shop Here program.
Okay.
So in the span of a week, it was like, bad news where they announced they had to close their location. They realized Shop Here was here. They went through the program, they launched their site, and now they're actually thriving online, and they've gotten a ton of publicity and press. They're selling a ton of stuff through their site. So like we're seeing a lot of really great stories of businesses that are buying in, and businesses that are buying into the mindset too. Not just coming and going, oh, it's a free website. I like free stuff. It's like, no, like we need to actually shift the way we're thinking about
Sure.
running our business.
Yeah.
And we're starting to see them fully embrace it, which is pretty incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. So in the past couple days, right? It's probably been a pretty busy week for you.
Yeah.
Last week, I think before I get into that, I think since I found out about Shop Here, I've been a big advocate of it. And certainly had my fingers crossed that it could grow outside of Toronto. So I was very happy to hear a couple days ago that Google was coming behind you guys to throw some support and some money and resources to help businesses and the Shop Here program. From what I understand, their hopes is that they want to take it nationwide and they want to get 50,000 businesses online by 2021. So, I mean, tell me more about that partnership.
So it was a wild week, and so I'm a very talkative person by nature. So for me to kind of keep that under wraps until the announcement was made was hard. I won't lie,
Sure.
just because it was such good news. But so essentially, Digital Main Street at its core is supported by right now 4 strategic partners. So we've got Google, Microsoft, MasterCard, and Shopify.
Yep.
That have all been with us for a number of years now, and so they all support everything that we do. Whether it be Digital Main Street core programming, Shop Here, all of the above.
Right.
And then really I'll give kudos to Google for this. They decided to step up with this additional investment. They're committing $1 million to the Shop Here program to expand it nationally, which is absolutely incredible. I cannot thank them enough. We're already seeing traction across the country. We've got some cities out west that have signed up. And actually one of the coolest things, and this is just, obviously given everything that's happened in the last couple of years and, desire to help, the most recent city that just signed up literally like 4 minutes ago was Humboldt, Saskatchewan.
Wow.
So, obviously with everything that happened there and, just kind of, looking at communities like that, for different reasons, really, really need the help. That's where we're really starting to see the impact. So it's been pretty incredible to see, with that investment, what's happened already.
Okay.
And how large we're going to be able to grow this.
Right. So how do we get Barry on board? Or is Barry on board?
So two very good questions. I'll confirm right now. I'm fairly certain they are. And if they're not,
then I'm making a call right after this.
And it's very easy. So I'll send you the link right after this.
Sure.
And so the other piece is, we've launched it across Ontario. And so, we're launching across Ontario with all Ontario municipalities.
Okay.
So if anyone's out there from a municipality in Ontario and you're interested in getting involved, you can go directly to the homepage, digitalmainstreet.ca/shop here.
And I do for like every municipality, every small business to look into this.
Yes, in Ontario to start, and then we're just finalizing the piece kind of across Canada.
Okay.
But the hope, like I said, is 50,000 businesses across Canada. We set a lofty goal, but you know what? There's a lot of businesses across Canada that need the help, and we're hoping that we can hit as many of them as possible.
That's fantastic.
Really, just looking at the biggest impact possible, and at the end of the day, trying to save our main streets. Communities are only they only go as far as their main streets.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that it's taken something like this current situation that we're experiencing for a lot of people to realize the true value that these businesses have in their neighborhood. And I'm not pointing fingers at anyone or any city or anything like that. It's just, I'll use a good example. I've been in Toronto for 30 years and I've never been to the CN Tower. You take it for granted because it's there, right? Like you don't realize like how different and how kind of impactful that is to your community. And it's happening with small businesses right now. Yeah. And it's quite amazing to see. And I did an interview on Friday, and I want to reiterate the point because it's very rarely do I say things that I'm kind of proud of. But I was talking to CBC and they asked me, about how small businesses are going to compete with Amazon and all this.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought about it for a second, but and I stand by this, so I'm going to reiterate it. Is listen, there is not a single person on this planet whose last name is not Bezos that has a brand affinity to Amazon.
Right.
Nobody buys from Amazon because they love the brand or they love the organization or they love the logo or anything like that. It's very,
Convenience.
very simple why you buy from Amazon. You want your package here tomorrow and you want it for the cheapest price.
Mm-hmm.
It's purely convenience. So
Yeah.
the one true value that these small businesses have that sometimes they don't realize, and the power, ripped out my headphone. The power of it is limitless, is an ability to truly make an authentic connection with the customer.
Yeah.
It's whether it's your brand or another brand in Barrie or Toronto or wherever,
Yeah.
like your customers are coming there obviously for the product and the service, but also a lot of the times for you as the business owner.
Right.
All of those things go into building the brand. That's how you build a relationship with your customers. That's how you build authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that for as long as small businesses are around, Amazon will never be able to do.
Right.
Ever. It's just the nature of who they are. And I'm not knocking them.
No.
It's just the way it is. So I think, looking at these small businesses and the ability that they have in their communities to really make an impact, really kind of invest in the community, whether it be at local festivals, whether it just be, it's where parents take their kids after their baseball game in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
It's those stories that, we're trying to kind of preserve and make sure are still there to kind of continue on for, years and generations to come.
Sure. Well, I mean, on that note, do you have any suggestions for small businesses amidst all this disconnection from the, that connection that we're having usually with customers? How can we hold on to that? I know that there's been a lot of support. Definitely, like you said, people are realizing that we took it for granted. And we don't want local business and we don't want small business to go away, because there's so much character and there's so much heart and it's the backbone of the economy, really.
100%.
But I'm seeing communities come behind their businesses and really support them. But in the same sense, us as the businesses, we want to continue to make that connection with our customer. I mean, when I built my business, I was doing essentially trade shows and events every single weekend to grow my brand connection with the customers, and just have that connection with people, and we don't have it. So is there any tips you can give, for small businesses that, do we take the video more? Do we, take advantage of the stories, like let people in as much as possible? What can we do?
Yeah. So I think, before I get into the specifics, I think the biggest piece of advice I can give is just be present.
Right.
So, don't just, unfortunately, a lot of business owners think that because their doors are closed, they can't engage their customers anymore and they can't of communicate with them. So I think, without looking at the specific channels is, customer engagement is more important right now than it's ever been.
Yep. That's what I've been talking about.
And it's not around just selling product. It's around, I get a bunch of emails every day that are product focused and it's great. But then the odd time I'll get an email from a brand that's literally like, they're just checking in.
Yeah.
Just like, hey, Darryl, just, hope all is well. Want to make sure everything's okay. We're obviously here. If there's anything you ever need, please reach out. Right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So it could be something as simple as that. It's, in terms of channels, I think video is definitely super effective right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think Instagram's a big one just because of the sheer amount of time people have to spend on the app right now.
Yeah.
Email marketing is a very, very large piece right now.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's
and content creation, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Is just staying top of mind in whatever capacity makes sense for your business.
Right.
So, don't go out of your comfort zone and do something just for the sake of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, try and get a sense of where that sweet spot for your customers. Is it, the pictures you're posting on Instagram? Is it, the stuff that you're sharing on Pinterest? Is it, those direct emails that you're sending to your audience that they love? Like so you're going to have to kind of do a deep dive into all of that and really figure out what that sweet spot is.
Mm-hmm.
But, I think with all of that, it really comes down to just, comfortability, level of understanding. But at the end of the day, like, even if you can't do everything, just get out there, update your Google My Business, let them know you're open for curbside pickup. Like sometimes the smallest things go a long way. Like I had a really bad experience this weekend. I went to, so throughout the whole pandemic, I've been doing groceries and stuff for my parents just because I don't want them going out.
Yep.
And so on Saturday morning, I went out to, it was actually Friday night, I went out first and I went out to pick up dog food.
Mm.
Global Pet Foods, great company, nothing but love for their staff and an organization. I'm not knocking them, but hundreds of locations. So I went on Google and I just looked, and Global Pet Foods, I picked the location. Okay, they're open till 8 o'clock. So I drove there. It's only 10 minutes, not the end of the world. But
Mm.
all they have is a sign on their door that says, new operating hours, whatever, till 6 p.m. And it's
Mm.
like, that's great. I respect that. But like, sometimes those smallest things go a long way. Cause like I said to them when I was in the store the next morning on Saturday, I just said, like, guys, listen, I love you. I come in here all the time. Like, we first name basis, but like, come on, like
Yeah.
just a bit of an oversight. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I think some things like that, where it's sometimes less is more,
Yeah.
especially like the Google My Business features that they've updated. Like, you can literally say, I'm open for delivery. I'm open for pickup. I'm open for this. You can make COVID specific posts. You can make posts to sell your product.
Yep.
Like if you're not leveraging Google My Business right now to the full capacity, I think you're already behind. And
Okay.
then you kind of layer on from there.
Yeah.
But again, you got to be measuring effectiveness at all times. Everyone is
Mm-hmm.
stretched. Everyone is stretched super thin right now. Everyone is still
Yeah.
working on their businesses, working on reopening plans, working on recovery strategies. So don't try and do every single thing at once. Start to
Yeah.
kind of start to build and figure out what's really working, but just stay top of mind for your customers. It could
Mm-hmm.
be an Instagram live, it could be posting on Facebook, it could just be sending them an email. Like, just make sure that they
Yeah.
understand you're still there and you're around.
Well, that's one of the biggest things. I think that when this thing first broke in March, mid-March, everybody was in a grief period
Yep.
of the old world, right? So I think that everybody went into this state of shock where you were waking up in the morning and you're just kind of aimlessly like, what do I do now?
Yep.
And then that, compounded and worries and anxiety, and everybody just kind of shut down,
Yep.
not just business wise, but everyone shut down completely from talking
Yep.
to their customers, letting people know that, because we're in this together. I think now people are starting to get around to it. They're
Yep.
embracing this new normal, whatever that is. We don't really know, but um, we're certainly taking it day by day. And I think people are starting to start to talk to their customers again. So I think
Yep.
that's really important.
Yeah, no, and I think you hit it on the head, because when all this first happened, I was getting a bunch of messages being like, "Oh, Darryl, you guys must be so busy. Like, the demand must just be through the roof." And it was funny, like the demand never went down, but we didn't see that visceral spike till probably about 6 weeks after. And it's exactly what you said. It's
Yeah.
when you're dealing with literally having to shut your business now, the problems with some of the government programs and the rent
Yep.
issues and all that kind of stuff. Like, you don't have the time or the energy to focus on some of this stuff, regardless of how beneficial it is.
Mm-hmm.
So we understood that completely, and we just what we did is we launched a series of programming. So we did a couple weeks worth of webinars, and
Mm-hmm.
we did some online learning and stuff, and just no different than what I'm preaching right now, which is just let them know we're still here. Let them
Yeah.
know if they want to join an Instagram workshop next week, we've got one for them. Let them know if they want to work with one of our team members, they can.
Yep.
So it was really kind of practicing what I'm preaching, which is just get out there and let them know we're still here.
Yeah.
Let them know we're around, let them know we're here to help.
That's great. Well, I won't take too much more of your time, but before I do let you go, where can I tell businesses to go? Where can I tell municipalities and administration from municipalities to go to?
Yeah. So if you're a business or a municipality, the best place is to just go to Digital Main Street, all one word, .ca
Okay.
/ shop here.
Okay.
And then there'll be an area where businesses can sign up. There'll be an area where municipalities can sign up as well.
Okay.
So more to come on that. But yeah, like I said, if you're a business in Ontario and you're looking for an e-commerce website, please sign up now. We've got a full team that's ready to help you.
Mm-hmm.
Depending
Now,
on,
if
sorry.
people are online
Mhm.
already, but not to the point where they should be,
Yeah.
and are struggling with it, this is still open to them as well, or how does that work?
Yeah, so the Shop Here program is geared towards any business in Ontario that, that meets the very limited criteria, which is just, of a certain size of employee count and not being a corporate franchise, stuff like that,
Okay.
that wants to be transactional online.
Okay.
So everything is run through Shopify as one of our founding partners. And essentially, if you want to receive a Shopify store where you can sell products or services to your customers, you're
Yep.
more than welcome to sign up and receive the site. Everything is completely free up until after the 90-day trial has expired. And
Mm-hmm.
then the only thing that businesses are responsible for is that monthly cost from Shopify, which
Which
starts at
is,
$29 a month, I believe.
yeah, it's pretty good.
But the overall process of having multiple students and developers work with you, build the site, train you, teach you how to use it, all of that, there's no cost to that whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
And we've actually worked with a number of our partners to secure additional opportunities in the form of grant credits. So we've got some advertising credits from Facebook, Google, Snapchat. We've got a shipping credit from a partner. So like what we've really tried to do is build this complete comprehensive package where you get a site, you learn how to use it, and now you've actually got some resources to kind of execute those first couple orders. So there's really no excuse. It's just get going and do your best and continue to work on it. And we're here to help. And there's other organizations. We do a lot of work with the city of Barrie. That.
Mm-hmm.
That are there to provide support. So it's just a matter of kind of just flicking that switch and going.
That's right. Well, thanks so much, Darryl. I appreciate your time very much. I'm looking forward to seeing the Shop Here program spread across Canada and more people getting online and getting the help they need to keep pushing through this.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, and always happy to chat. So if there's anything that comes up, please feel free to reach out.
Great. Well, I really appreciate your time, Darryl, and we'll talk to you soon.
Take care. Thanks for having me.
All right. Cheers.
Bye.
Before I leave you for the day, I just wanted to give a shout out and a thank you from the bottom of my heart to all of our frontline healthcare workers and essential workers out there for all that you do. Thank you so much. To my fellow entrepreneurs, thank you for listening. Keep powering through. Stay positive, stay optimistic, and stay hungry. Thank you for subscribing below to our channel, listening to us on Apple Music, on Google Play, on Spotify, and we'll see you next week.